In this video, I want to talk to you about the Quadratus lumborum, or the QL. What is it and why I think it is the key to unlocking people's backs. And don't forget, if you like our content and you like the things that we produce and you want to hear more from us, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell button to be notified of when we update you with any new content. So the Quadratus lumborum, what is it? Well, it's a funny sounding muscle, but essentially what this means is square lower back. So if we think of our back here, we have two of these QL muscles, or Quadratus lumborum, and they attach from the top of the pelvis. So if you imagine your spine here, we've got the pelvis coming out here. They run from the top of your pelvis to your lowest rib. So again, we imagine the rib cage coming off here. And we have this square muscle that sits in there. But they also attach themselves or fix themselves onto the lumbar vertebrae. So they are a really important muscle. Now, what do? Well, we've got two of them. When they work together, they look to flex our spine, but when one works on its own, it pulls our spine off to the side. Okay, and we have side flexion. Now, what we find in clinic is that these muscles have a tendency to become very tight in people. And what we want to do is look at their role a little bit. Now, their role of the QL is to be a secondary core stabilizer. So we're aware of this term, core stability. And this is really the muscles that are designed to keep our spine stable and working as it should do. Now, we have our primary core stabilizers, which are some muscles that wrap around our spine effectively like a corset. But then we have these ones that look to help out, our secondary core stabilizers. And in particular, that's where our QL comes into play. So why can this be significant? Well, if we're somebody who is looking to do either a lot of core work or we're new to exercising and using our core, then our current primary core stabilizers might not be strong enough for the demands that we want to place upon them. So what I want to emphasize here is it might not be that you're somebody who's weak through the core, but if you're looking to up the intensity of your exercises or do more specific core work, what you might be finding is that you're using these QL muscles too much. So what does this mean? Well, because of the fact that they're so significant in our lower back, they're attaching onto the pelvis, the ribs, and the spine itself. If we get problems and dysfunction in this muscle, it's really problematic and can become very sore in the lower back. So how do we look to work out if your QL is tight and if this is something that you should be working on? Well, we know that it is involved in side flexion. So if we look to take ourselves into a position where we lift our arms above our head, and if you do this seated, now from a seated position, what this allows us to do is fix our hips in position. So rather than standing where we'll compensate. So sitting on the floor works nicely, hands above our head, and just look to tip ourselves as far as we can off to the side. We then return to the middle and then we repeat on the other side. Now, when I take myself off to the right, I'm looking to stretch my left QL. And with myself, what you can see is that actually my right QL allows me much more movement compared to my left QL, which starts kicking in here. So this is no wonder that I might suffer some left side issues. So what do we do about this? Well, there's a couple of great things that we can look to do to work on this QL. One of them, and perhaps often the most beneficial, is to look to be doing a QL stretch. And I'm just going to demonstrate here one of my favourite stretches for working the QL muscle. And a reminder that we should be looking to hold this stretch for about 30 seconds till you feel a release. And also when it comes to static stretching, this is something that we should be looking to do daily to be seeing improvements in the flexibility of that muscle. So doing this stretch for the QL could be hugely beneficial for your lower back pain. We also can use certain rolling techniques, and one of my favourite things to use is a ball of some density. So something like a golf ball, a hockey ball, a lacrosse ball is my favourite bit of kit. And simply lying on our sides and placing the ball into the area until we feel some soreness can be really helpful in then relaxing that tissue. Finally, it's very important to think about the exercises you're doing and potentially some exercise modification. So if you're doing work around the core that is resulting in you getting lower back pain, that's telling you that you're now using these dysfunctional QL muscles. So that's something we shouldn't be getting. If you're finding that, it's not something that you should be working through. It's something that we should be modifying to make sure that we're using the correct core muscles. So that's really important thing. So if you're doing an exercise like the plank, and you're finding that you're getting lower back pain, you've stopped using the primary core stabilizing muscles and you're using these dysfunctional secondary core stabilizers, which isn't going to result in you having a stronger core, but it is going to result in you having back pain. So that's what you need to be thinking about when it comes to doing your core work. So hopefully this has been helpful, guys, for you. Hopefully you can see why I feel the QL muscle is so important in unlocking your back and allowing you more mobility, freedom, and ultimately less pain in the lower back area. Let me know your thoughts. Drop a comment in below. Have you found that one of your QLs is tighter on one side than the other? Do you find that this stretch is helpful for you? I'd love to hear your feedback and speak to you soon.